Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Professor, a feature that's crowd-funded and also crowd-driven in that we respond to your questions on history, economics, political philosophy, culture, all those things that matter to us in our common life.
All right, here's one from our longtime backer, Isabel, who's asking, well, it has to do with this recent cabinet shuffle at the federal level here, where two senior politicians decided to retire from politics, Stefan and John McCallum, and were offered jobs as ambassadors. And she's asking, are there laws prohibiting offering candidates for or holders of public office any kind of inducements to stand aside or stand down or retire? And if so, do the appointments of McCallum and Dion as ambassadors, or even just the offers, even if they turn it down, should that raise any legal concerns?
The answer to the first question is yes. There are laws about promising people rewards if they will step aside. And in fact, there's been a considerable controversy in Ontario over the way in which the Liberal nomination in one riding was managed. And of course, the politician also said, oh, no, there's nothing to say here. There was no offer. We just said, something good would probably happen to you. But on the other hand, when you have a situation like that involving, I'd say, either Michel Dion or John McCallum, here are people who've been in politics for a very long time, and at some point they're likely to step down. And they are regarded by their colleagues as having served with distinction, or at any rate, having tried to serve with distinction.
They tried their best.
Stefan Dion, he had his ups and downs. And that it is a characteristic reward for long service in politics that you get a plum job. Now, I personally regard that as something of an odious thing. China is a very important country, one which I take rather a dim view, and I dislike the way that ex-politicians can get onto the Chinese gravy train. But they never make an explicit offer, so there's nothing illegal about it. It's just, don't pick fights with China while you're in power, and something good will happen afterwards. It's just understood. But I think that whoever our ambassador is to China ought to be somebody with a very good knowledge of China, not with a kind of daffy enthusiasm for China, and not somebody who might, after he is ambassador or she is ambassador, get a job involved in promoting Canadian-Chinese trade. But I don't think you can punish these sorts of things with laws. Here it's up to vigilant citizens to say to themselves, in making these appointments, has Justin Trudeau given to long-serving, solid, dedicated political figures a nice last job that they were entitled to, or is he handing out goodies to the boys? And if it's the latter, don't call a cop. Vote against this kind of behavior. Demand higher ethical standards in public affairs, because I think that criminalizing conduct that is arguably a little too cozy is a divisive thing to do, and I think it's a misuse of the law. Should John McCallum be our ambassador to China? I don't really think so. Should anybody be facing prosecution for making John McCallum our ambassador to China? No, not remotely. He'll probably do a pretty decent job. It's probably not a very important post in a way. Most of what happens probably isn't the work of the ambassador anyway. I trust he will conduct himself with dignity. I just dislike the way when they've already got these rather lucrative salaries and other arrangements that they should then get this cozy a job. What is it, the infamous taskless thanks. They've already done very well for themselves. Public service shouldn't make you rich. On the other hand, going out of public service into a lobbying job and getting rich isn't that good a thing either. So to some extent, I think we just have to live with this kind of thing. The political class treats itself well. And what we need to do is make government smaller, so it has fewer favors to hand out, fewer people get sucked into it, and the rest of us are less affected by the fact that there does tend to be a gravy train running in small circles inside it.
All right, but I'll just throw in something, because you said don't send the cops, don't call the cops, vote them out of office. The problem is the other guys will do the same thing. So practically, what do I do?
Well, that is, no matter who you vote for, the government always gets in. But the problem with this, again, politics is downstream of culture, including in the way that politicians react to a perception that they're helping themselves to their entitlements. If the citizens are generally alert to this sort of thing and indignant about it, parties will try to move themselves gradually in the direction of less of that kind of behavior. If, on the other hand, it looks as though people don't really care, then it's a very natural behavior to engage in. And so it's up to us to react not with fury or obscenity, but with persistent indignation when things like this happen, and to make clear that when we vote, we regard character and honorable conduct as significant policy issues. It's not just where do you stand on taxes, it's where do you stand on decency. And if people get caught with their hand in the cookie jar in a society where that's frowned on, it does carry political consequences. It's when it doesn't really carry consequences anymore that we've created an environment in which we've become helpless. So we need to be less willing to excuse behavior by the blue team that we would condemn in the red team or vice versa.
I see.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But then nobody said the job would be easy.
All right, then. Thanks for that, folks. If you would like to play along and ask your question of the professor, the URL on your screen will take you to a page where everything is explained. Thanks, and see you next time.